Going on, everybody? This is Bobby G, aka Bobby Bookworm, back with another Saturday Shpiel. As you can kind of see, I'm doing things a little different, and I think it's kind of fitting because it's a new reading this week, and after Simchat Torah, which just happened this past Wednesday, that's where the scroll has been rolled back, and then you start from the beginning, and then go towards the end throughout the year, a little past New Year and so on. So I decided, with this new start, figure I'd try a new angle and a new way to start things going. That said, the reading for this week is Parashat Bereshit. Bereshit is a way in Hebrew of saying in the beginning. And for this week, it is Genesis 1:1 to chapter 6, verse 8. Chapter 42, verse 5 to chapter 43, verse 10. John chapter 1, verses 1 through 17. And Revelation chapter 22, verses 6 through 21. Now, Revelation comes from Chosen People Ministries readings, and John 1 comes from TorahPortions.org. For those who have not been here before, as I'm starting new, I just kind of want to give you an understanding of, in the Messianic Jewish community, whereas in the traditional Jewish community only has two readings, which are the Torah and the Haftorah, which is the Law and the Prophets, or the books of Moses and the Prophets. In the case of Messianic community, we have the Torah, the Haftorah, and the Brit Chadashah, which is the Torah, the Prophets, and the New Covenant, more commonly known as the New Testament. So that's how we do things. And this week, what I want to say is it all begins with God. Because really that's what a new beginning starts with. That's why we have Genesis, Isaiah, Revelation, and John. Or John and Revelation, that is. And in the case of Revelation, you have the new heavens and the new earth and the new start, which is what's going to happen when God comes back one day and settles all accounts. In the book of Genesis, obviously, starting in the beginning, we have Adam and Eve, the Garden of Eden, all of that, and then we have the fall, unfortunately, which is where we also have the start of things going bad. But that's not where things start with God. If you live your life with God, things start well. If you don't live with your life with God, things go bad. Things start to get bad. And that's what we see here in the beginning with Genesis. Ending on the notes with all of the genealogies and with Noah, who is mentioned the son of Lamech. And the name Noah, who we're getting into next week, the actual name Noah or Noach in Hebrew actually means rest. That's literally what Noah's name means, is rest. And we'll get into that next week. But in this particular case, you have the garden, and prior to the fall, you have Adam and Eve just living it up, really, just chilling. All the animals, there's no eating meat at this point. Everybody's essentially, believe it or not, vegan before the fall. Everybody's just chilling, living up. I'm not saying everybody should be vegan, by the way. I'm just saying that's just how the setup was, and we'll get into that again next week of why things changed. Now, in the case of Isaiah, what we have here is Israel's being kind of out there, kind of blah, kind of blase blah, and Isaiah is living at the time of a few different kings, which include Uzziah and Chazakyahu, also known as Uzziah and Hezekiah, among a few other kings as well. And Isaiah is just kind of prophesying of where things are and where things are eventually going to be. That God is going to eventually tell the nations to give up the children of Israel so that the children of Israel can be brought together again and that Israel can be renewed and start anew. Which obviously happened in 1948, but there has yet to be changing and things to start anew again. Which, to say that is, in 1948, when the nation of Israel started, there were less than 50 Messianic Jews like myself. Cut to today, about 70 some odd years later, and you have over 30,000 believers or Messianics in Israel today. So, we see a new spiritual beginning, not only with the beginning and regathering of Israel, but also in the New Jerusalem, which leads us to John and the book of Revelation. In Revelation, we have the New Jerusalem, the new heavens, the new earth, and all of that. In the case of John, we have, which is the Gospel of John, we have John or Yochanan the Immerser, or John the Baptizer, which is ironically told of by John, and he comes in the power and the spirit of Elijah, saying, I am not the light, but I have come to testify of the light. And it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, referring to Yeshua, Jesus, which is being the Logos. And then it says the Logos pitched his tent and dwelt among us, which refers to Jesus being the Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, coming and dwelling among us, so that we may have new life in God, in the Messiah Yeshua, so that we may have a new life, and instead of living in pain and torture, we may live a life of joy. And that is what comes with having a new life in Yeshua, starting from creation till now. And it's all about new life coming from God. It all comes from God. All new life, all new blessings, all new joys, all new journeys start with God. And if you haven't started your life anew with God today, I would encourage you to do so. I would encourage you to start anew with God. You know, we just had Rosh Hashanah not too long ago, which was a new year. And we also had Yom Kippur, which was a day of atonement, so that your life could be made fresh with God. Not just on an individual level, but on the nation as well. So I'm hoping that as you go through this week, that you not only choose to start your life new with God, but also to help pray for renewal of your city, your state, and your nation with God, whether you live here in the U.S. or whether you live abroad. That's all I would ask. Hopefully you have a blessed life. This is my new first Saturday Shpiel for the new year. That is for the Jewish New Year after the start of the Simchat Torah, rolling back the scroll. Hopefully you have a blessed time and a blessed week. Shalom.